So what we're going to talk about today is reverse dieting after a show, whether you're an enhanced athlete or a non-enhanced athlete. So it's a little bit different for each. So let's just talk about the non-enhanced natural athlete that didn't take any like performance enhancing supplements that aren't natural from a supplement store. So after a show, what I find with my clients that I've learned over the years is that when you try to reverse someone off a diet super slow, so like by raising their carbs by like, let's say 20 grams per day for the first week and then upping it by that every week. When you do that, a lot of people tend to binge, especially women. They have more of a tendency to binge eat, and they'll get a lot more uncomfortable a lot faster than most males will, because most guys can gain 20, 30 pounds after a show and not feel so self-conscious. But a woman, she'll gain 5, 10 pounds, 15. If they gain 20, then they're going to be really feeling really bad about themselves, and they're going to be really missing that old, like that leanness that they had at the show, which is unrealistic. So we cannot keep that leanness that we achieved at the show. So right there, we know we're going to put on body fat. So after the show, you have to be able to accept that you aren't going to be as lean as you were when you were at the show. And it's very unrealistic to keep it even within like a 4-week margin of the show. You will feel really tired, you'll be low energy, your workouts will really suffer, and you will miss out on the packing on the muscle mass that you can achieve after you're done a competition. So again, back to it. What I do with my clients most of the time is I'll bring up their calories, but not super slow. So to prevent that binge eating, which most of the time if that happens, like you have to, if someone's like that, like either they would have to be on like a less calorie diet on the days that, like for a couple days, and having a binging episode, and then a couple days lower calories. But with that, it doesn't create a healthy relationship with your food. So you want to have a good relationship with your food that you're eating, and not use it as just as a pleasure, and then not be able to control like how much you're eating and that type of thing. If you can better control that, you will have a way smoother rebound, and you won't get as out of shape as quickly. So when I raise their normal diet, I bring up their normal food by a substantial amount. So like usually the protein will stay the same roughly, if not come down a little bit after a show, and then their carbs and their fats will have to go up a considerable amount from what they were previously dieting on to be there, because they're in a severe caloric deficit and doing a cardio and all this activity on top of it. So in turn, they were not putting on as much muscle into the show, if just maintaining. And then now is the time to put on some muscle. You're going to put on some body fat, but we're going to try to limit that as much as possible. So by doing that, we raise up their natural calories, or their normal calories after the show, a considerable amount from normal. So bring them above their maintenance level that they should be at for calories. And this way, this will prevent them hopefully from binge eating. If they do binge eat, then they're fucked. So if they're eating a lot of calories and you raised up their food a lot and they still can't control it, and then they're binge eating, then they're just screwed, because then they're gonna just be gaining tons of fat, because their normal caloric days are way above what normal is. So like I said, if you still have that issue, then you're almost better off doing a little less caloric diet on those days that are between those, but ideally we do not want any kind of binging. So being able to control that, and then that way when you're doing your cheat meals, let's say once a week, and you're on a higher caloric diet for the remaining part of the week, you will be able to control that cheat meal a lot better. You can have like 1 burger and 1 fry versus having like 5 burgers and then a bunch of fries and then ice cream and then donuts and then whatever else the person wants, right? So with that, it just becomes like this addiction. It's just like sugar is just like a drug, pretty much. So it's like taking crack or cocaine or whatever people do. Those are addictions. Same with food. Food is an addiction too. So you have to be able to try to control that urge, and it's very, very hard. And especially, like I said, for women, it's even harder after the show. Your hormones get out of whack. Your leptin starts increasing. Your thyroid starts slowing down after the show because you're eating more. So your body tries to pack on. It wants to pack on as much fat as possible to feel normal again. And then usually you'll become a point where your body will say, okay, enough is enough. But you want to do that with the clean food. So you want to try to bring it up, the food, a lot, that you're not getting the cravings and you're not giving your body too much during the week of the foods that will make you crave more. So try not to limit the sugars a little bit after, not to have too much of those. Try to eat more wholesome carbs so that you're filling your body up and holding it, rather than sugar, which is in and out real fast and it'll make you crave more sugar. So in turn, we want to bring up their caloric needs so that we're creating a better environment for them to grow and a better environment for them to have a healthy relationship with food. So for an enhanced athlete though, a lot of times after, if they're on performance enhancing drugs, they can take in a lot more food and they don't really need to reverse diet. At that point, it's almost better just to still eat good foods, like don't be binge eating and doing that I don't approve of anyways, but bring up their food like crazy, like really, really high, because they're going to still be able to burn fat and they'll still they're taking performance enhancing supplements, so they're creating a better hormonal environment where they can manipulate these things that sometimes go down on the natural athletes. So after, they can put on a substantial amount of muscle mass, and people have to get some people aren't comfortable with it, but some are with gaining weight. So you to put on muscle, like a substantial amount in the off season, you have to gain weight, and you have to gain probably more than you really are comfortable with putting on. And that goes for girls as well. So if someone's a small girl, they got to put on weight and might put on a bit more fat than they would want to in the off season, but they just got to understand that it will come off later. So, and then not being super obsessed with being lean, but you also don't want to do that binge eating thing where you get fat real fast, because now your metabolism is real screwed up. And then trying to diet from that is just hell. It ends up being like this diet that just doesn't work. It's just like almost like you're starving the person. You got to get their metabolism functioning again. So whenever I have someone that has a metabolism issue with me that comes and sees me, maybe they reverse dieted really bad after a show with someone else, or just couldn't control themselves. So then they come to me, and then we have to kind of do like almost like a reverse diet for them at that point to try to get their metabolism functioning properly again, so that they can in turn get leaner without having to starve themselves, do excessive cardio and all this and that. So that's kind of my take on reverse dieting after show for a performance enhanced athlete, and then also for a person that's just natural, like most girls are. So that's my take on it. That's how I help my clients as well. Hopefully that'll give you some information on how you can apply it to yourself as well, and how you can kind of treat your post-show reverse diet. This is Cody Heinrichs, MP Fitness, and we're out.